Here now, Punchbowl News congressional reporter Max Cohen, Politico White House reporter Sophia Cai, and CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion. Nikole, it's great to have you here at the family table the first time on the brand new Takeout. Talk to me about what's most on your mind about what you saw on the Hill this week.
Well, gosh, I don't know where to start.
It's a long list. It's a long list. You're under no pressure, Nikole.
I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking about the big, beautiful bill, but I would say things are very ugly in terms of the family dynamics on Capitol Hill right now. I think we saw things really explode as both the House and Senate broke for this week as a result of this forceful removal of California Senator Alex Padilla,
From a press conference involving the DHS Secretary, Kristi Noem.
Correct. Yeah, things just really ignited. You have Democrats who are furious over what happened. There was a shouting match on the House floor. There was a hearing yesterday on sanctuary cities that also erupted, but, this all kind of erupted simultaneously. But I think the catalyst in part was this treatment of Senator Padilla. So, of course, again, we have heard from a lot of congressional Democrats on this, many of whom have tried to meet with Leader Thune and Speaker Johnson, whether that is members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Black Caucus, members of the California delegation, unsuccessfully. Speaker Mike Johnson himself told me that he thinks that Padilla's behavior rises to the level of censure, to which House Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar told me shortly thereafter that he thinks the speaker is full of it. So I think that gives you a sense of just the dynamics and the tenor right now on Capitol Hill. And certainly we have heard from Senator Padilla explaining that he was just trying to ask a question of the secretary, but I don't think this is an issue that is going to go away when lawmakers return next week.
We have a soundbite on this very topic from Alaska Republican Lisa Murkowski. Let's listen.
I worry about our government being viewed as this heavy-handed authoritarian state where anybody can be thrown to the floor and put in handcuffs.
Is that where we're at right now?
If we were sitting down day before yesterday and had this conversation, we would both say that would never happen. It wouldn't happen. And so it confuses me.
That's from an upcoming episode of CBS Sunday Morning, June 22nd. Norah O'Donnell with Lisa Murkowski. Max, it's also something on your mind, something you've been reporting about, this edginess on Capitol Hill, particularly over the Padilla incident.
Certainly. I think that it shows the tension that many lawmakers are feeling right now. Congressional Democrats were furious after they saw the footage, and they took to the Senate floor. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said he needs answers immediately, called it a, quote, manhandling of a sitting United States senator. But it also shows Republicans there, like Lisa Murkowski, are increasingly pushing back against some of the Trump administration actions. And we're seeing that on a variety of issues, not only with Padilla, but also with regards to reconciliation, like Nikole just mentioned. So
how is that manifesting itself on the reconciliation bill, the budget bill, the economic agenda? It has many different names.
Sure. A lot of fiscal conservatives on the far right of the Senate Republican Conference are saying this bill does not do enough to cut spending. So we hear a lot how the Republican Party is firmly united around Donald Trump. And while that's true for the most part, we're seeing in this instance folks like Rand Paul, Ron Johnson, Mike Lee, Rick Scott, all hardline Republicans saying, I'm not comfortable voting for this bill unless we cut more spending.
Max, from your assessment, and I know we're sort of in the middle of this process, that's four would sink it. Are those hard no's or sort of no's?
I think we have Rand Paul as a almost certain no. I'd say the rest are still very much in play. And the White House is interfacing with those other more in play no's because they know if you don't get this bill passed, which includes a debt limit increase, that might be fiscal disaster.
Sophia, the White House perspective on all this.
Look, they got called into the principal's office.
Who did?
You've got Rick Scott.
Okay. Florida Republican.
You've got Ron Johnson.
Wisconsin Republican.
And all of the fiscal hawks, right? There's four of them already. Max mentioned Rand Paul is a hard no because, he doesn't want to raise the debt ceiling.
Right.
So now there's three more. And you've also got to consider the moderates. So, someone like Susan Collins, someone like Josh Hawley, who doesn't like other parts of the bill, like changes to Medicaid. Medicaid. So you've got to consider all of that. And I think what you have is really high White House engagement saying, look, we'll talk to you. We'll consider some changes. We might put your pet projects in the bill. in exchange, don't be so negative on it. So you're seeing some of that with the temperature come down from those fiscal hawks. And really, the action is all going to the Hill and the Senate. The Senate's going to take up reconciliation. And then after that, Thune is going to want to pass the rescissions package,
right,
the $9 billion rescissions that starts to codify a portion of those DOGE cuts.
Right, exactly. So when we live in Washington, we are somehow always fascinated by who the mayor of New York City is. Does anyone have any comments on the future of that race? You're under no obligation. If nobody has anything, we'll move on. We're going to move on. All right. Nikole, talk to me about the Russia sanctions package that has been sitting there waiting for a green light from the White House. Lindsey Graham has said publicly there are 82 co-sponsors. Any chance that moves?
He seems pretty optimistic that he would like to see a vote next week. That is something that Senator Blumenthal, who has also co-sponsored this package, has also expressed an interest in doing. In terms of the leadership sources that I've talked to, there is nothing on the calendar just yet. So there is not a commitment as of yet to move it forward, but certainly the momentum is taking it that way. There seems to be broad bipartisan support to try to advance this package in light of the situation, happening on the ground with respect to Russia and Ukraine. Obviously, this issue now that's flaring up between Israel and Iran is now top of mind, too. But, there is hope that that sanctions package for Russia could move forward.
Sophia, the president said earlier this week that 15,000 people have signed up for the gold card, $5 million, for some sort of expedited path to citizenship. No real details provided. And those who signed up on the website, as I understand it, didn't have to prove they had the money to pay. They just signed up. So this is all kind of amorphous.
It's sort of like express your interest, right? And by the way, tell us which country you're from.
Tell us which country you're from and do something that we can talk about, a card with the president's likeness on it.
I mean, look, I think
That's called gold.
That's called gold.
Very on the nose. Very on the nose.
The Golden Dome, the gold card, all things gold are good if you're
Golden
President
age,
Donald
so
Trump.
on and so forth.
But I think this is a mechanism that they're trying to use to, for Trump, bring international people who are very wealthy and who could potentially spend money on American businesses, American workers, and at the same time potentially reduce the deficit. So already the White House is saying we've got 15,000 people signed up. Secretary Lutnick is saying that if 200,000 people sign up, that could potentially be $1 trillion. But look,
if they pay.
If they pay, and if this thing holds up in court, which we don't know, it's very possible that Congress will have to approve this. And, anything immigration related on Congress is a big question mark.
Max, I was going to go to you, but the people in the control room, they're very insistent that I go to break. I apologize for that. Max Cohen, Sophia Cai. Nikole Killion, thank you so much.